Big changes always start with a small step. And that is true when it comes to finances and looking at financial independence. Today's video, we're going to be looking at 12 critical mindset shifts to really help you achieve financial independence. Now, of course, for this, it can mean a lot of different things to different people, but let's go ahead and get into this list. Now, the first one is one of the biggest kind of things that I see that is criticized is money isn't taboo. That is right. When it comes to having conversations with friends and family, when it comes to having conversations with people about money, it doesn't happen in America. And even looking at the Empower survey, 62% of respondents said they do not have any conversations about money freely, and they don't even have conversations with their own family or within a household itself, which is kind of crazy. So when you think about budgeting, when you think of investing, when you think of the empowerment of other individuals, including your kids, people refuse to talk about money, which again, to my opinion, is very, very crazy. When you think about money, when you think about politics, there are some differences and some that you shouldn't talk about that, everyone has a very strong viewpoint, but everyone struggles with money, regardless of if you have a lot, if you have a little, what you're spending it on, how you're spending it. Knowledge is power. And honestly, if you're keeping it all to yourself, that is going to be very detrimental. Now, when we get into number two, this again is kind of another interesting one, is setting clear goals. This is always very, very important. A goal without a plan is just a wish. Now, we know that is, of course, a favorite quote. Now, this is setting very specific, very clear goals, which is exactly what I did. When you look at, I want to pay my house off by the time I'm 50, I have a very clear goal of what I need to pay off my house in the next 6 years, making sure that I am going to hit that goal based on the savings that I have and also based on the contributions that I'm making towards the principal. This has to be very, very specific, not only including the dollar amount you're looking for, what you plan to do, but also the time frame that you want to do it. I have a 6-year runway. I have a 6-year time frame to pay off the home. And of course, I have the option of investing. We have an option of a lot of different things. But of course, if you want to eliminate debt, how are you going to do it? What money do you have to put it towards that? And what is the time frame that you want to eliminate debt? If you say I have $10,000 in credit card debt, I want to spend the next 3 years paying it off, making sure that you don't accumulate any additional ones is really very important, because when you have a plan, when you have a goal, write it down. And I actually use little sticky notes for it. Write down your goal on a sticky note, put it in a place that you're going to visit on a regular basis. For me, it is computers. I do put them on computer screens. I have them both at home and I do have them at work, making sure that the goal is always the top of mind and making sure that you know what you're aiming to, what you're working for, and what your dedication level is to actually achieving that goal. Looking at number three, knowing your value. What's the point of earning money for financial freedom if you don't know your value and you're overworking, you're working too many hours, and you're not getting fair pay for the work that you're putting in? Now, of course, it isn't very helpful. A lot of people are getting burned out. A lot of people are getting frustrated because they have a different mindset. And this is, again, where the mindset needs to shift, is when you look at money, money is a tool. That is what it is. It is not something that is going to cure all of your worries. It is not something that is going to fix all of your problems. Money is a tool, and how you really leverage it. You don't value money the same way when you get to a certain point, and I don't see it the same way that I used to, 10 or 20 years ago. I really see it as a tool to buy the things that I need to survive, not the luxuries that a lot of people look for. I'm a lot more on the frugal side of things, in my opinion, because I don't buy a lot of things, and when I do, I might pay a little bit more for it, making sure that I see a very, very big value. I am not going to put money into something that I don't find a value, that I don't see a return. That is not an asset. That is not going to create something that is net positive for me, which is, again, a really, really big mindset. Now, of course, number four, we look at label money as positive. This is where a lot of it comes embedded, including myself, from your parents. When you look at your parents, when you look at your grandparents, when you look at anyone who kind of has raised you or has been around you financially, a lot of people view money in a very, very negative aspect. Had an individual recently that parents have very bad experiences with credit cards. They never want a credit card. They don't need a credit card. They were curious how they can build credit. While the easiest way to build credit is one, doing a loan, or two, doing a credit card, but because of the negative persona that they have with credit cards, the negative persona that they have with money, savings, really, they fill it with anger, they fill it with fear. They don't have a positive mindset when it comes to money and what money can do for you. Majority of Americans, again, kind of go into that negative place when they have the perception of money and really achieving financial freedom. Now, you and I both know that things are getting more expensive and they have got more expensive, but how many things can you honestly say that you've cut back on, and you've cut back in a very, very significant way? For us, there's a lot of cutback that we've actually done because of the cost of things, even cutting cable, shopping around for different things, looking for cheaper auto insurance, cheaper homeowners, looking at possibly refinancing if you have any debt, doing some balance transfers, doing some consolidation, making everything kind of net positive with cash flow, and making sure that you can pay all the bills on time. Because of course, when you start getting behind, it is a very, very slippery slope, but putting that positive spin on money will make a really big difference. And of course, in addition with the positive spin when it comes to the critical mindset is changing your words about money. When you start looking at money as a positive light, when you start looking at it as a tool to get the things that you want, and there's really two ways to think about this when it comes to mindset is as someone who gets stressed out and snaps about money, which a lot of people do, it gets easier when you're frustrated and you really vocalize what is going on in the way that you frame it. For instance, you didn't waste money on a sweet treat. You focused on yourself and allocated your funds to get that sweet treat. When you think of literally, you are saying the same exact thing with the mindset shift. It's not, hey, I'm wasting money on XYZ. It's, hey, I am seeing the value and the reward from XYZ. Again, it is a different way to really, the shift in the mindset thinking when it comes to money. We get into number 6, it can always get better. Now, money, of course, makes the world go around, which provides a lot of anxiety when it comes to individuals. Sometimes all you need to do is tell yourself that everything is going to be okay, because of course it's going to be. A lack of money has never killed anyone. Living paycheck to paycheck is not forever. You can get a better job. You can do a side hustle. You can sell some things. It is really reminding yourself that the stress is not permanent, and the stress that you're seeing and receiving from money is not going to be forever. Looking at number 7, glamorize the little things. Financial independence means cutting down on some things and splurging and getting to that goal, but it doesn't mean it has to be detrimental. When we talk about a budget, when we talk about a savings plan, when we think about living the life that you want, what exactly does it look like? When you look at the little things, you can really glamorize things when you aren't just exercising, but you're taking care of yourself, when you're working on yourself and improving yourself in a multitude of ways, whether it's physically through exercise, whether it's learning a new trait or new skill that could possibly, advance your career. You have to make sure that the little things that you do on a daily basis, they really do add up. And when you take a step back and be grateful, gratitude is something that a lot of people I feel lack. And of course, there's been a ton of psychological studies. There's been a lot of things that people that show gratitude, especially in the morning before you do anything else, the things that you're thankful for will change your life. Number 8, you're worth it. That's right. We are always our own worst enemy for a majority of people. Do you have a goal or a job that you want to try? Do you have something new you want to do, but you're too scared? It is the negative voice in your head trying to keep you safe. Now we know we are born with only 2 fears, and only 2 very specific fears, which is the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. That negative voice in your head, you can go ahead and overpower it. Instead, say daily or weekly mantras. You know that you're worth it. You know that you're going to make it, and you know you're going to be successful. And trust me, over an extended amount of time, it does make a big difference. Number 9, we get into living in the moment. This is a very, very big mindset shift. When you live in the moment, you have your goal, you have your plan in place, you know exactly what you're going to do, but you have to be there. You don't want to get burnt out. You don't want to get frustrated. Living in the moment sounds more like a life mindset, but it also applies to money, and you can apply it to money when the goal is shifted to money. Your mental and physical health will matter more when it comes to living in the moment and really taking in the experiences that you do have. Number 10, messing up is not failing. This is something that a majority of individuals are really taught from birth, is that if you mess up, if you fail, if you do something wrong, it is very, very negative. It is something that you're not going to recover from. Truth is, a lot of people do, and a lot of people do on a regular basis. When you look at failed experiments from famous scientists, of course, a lot of failures just meant success. Even when you look at some of the richest people in the world that have had multitude of failures, failed businesses, declared bankruptcy, they've really gotten to the point where failing is about learning versus failing about negative that you cannot do it. There is no reason to beat yourself up. Maybe take a day or two, maybe take a step back, see exactly what you learned from that experience, and move forward. Being kind to yourself, shifting that mindset over will give you a greater financial independence that you're really looking for. Number 11, everything is subject to change. As many people that love change like I do, a lot of people are absolutely devastated when it comes to change. No one is a psychic. And of course, with technology, we can't predict everything, but there will be changes. Things are going to happen. You're going to lose your job. Someone's going to get sick. There's going to be a point where you're going to have an emergency fund, which is the reason why we have it. Shift your mindset that you understand that things are going to change. Everything is not going to stay the same as it always is. You're not going to be at the same job for 50 years. Chances are that doesn't really happen much anymore, but overall things, positions, people are going to change in your life, and the ability and the flexibility to go ahead and change with that is going to be vital. Number 12, and the very last one, this is not a race. There is no race. Financial freedom is not a race. Even when it comes to investing, it is not a race. It is a very, very monotonous, boring plan that you come up with. And it's funny because one of the comments that I got on my video is your portfolio is very, very basic and it's very boring. Guys, I am looking at a very basic portfolio, and I love having my very basic portfolio because in the last 3 years, it's up almost 72%, which is kind of crazy. But you are not in a competition with your family, your siblings, your friends, keeping up with the Joneses. There is no one to be in competition with except yourself. As long as you are better than yourself and better than you were yesterday, that is the true competition. It's a very hard mindset to shift and really to swallow. But once you do make the adjustment, it is going to make an absolute game-changing difference for the rest of your life. So, all right, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. The 12 critical mindset shifts needed for true financial independence. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.